Alright, back to the heads. Got the guides all honed, so now we're going to do the valve job. Okay. Okay, this is what, use the bolts here to hold it down. Table. Comes off a couple of the rocker box mounting bolts down here. See how clean the holes are. No grit in the holes. Yeah, I guess I got them good and clean. Ain't been blasted a couple times, so hopefully there was no grit in there. There isn't. So he wants me to do a bowl port job on these also, which I might accidentally do more than that. Time is short, but you know, whatever. I have my minimum standards to deal with around here. Okay, so that's down there. Now I gotta square it up. Oh, this thing does not want to move. Ah. It's supposed to slide easily. Hasn't done that for a while. That's on the floor. Good. I've only slid it off the floor once. I think I caught it, but it only weighs a couple 100 pounds. No big deal. All right. That hasn't really helped much, but not really. Just manhandle it. That's all it seems to work. Need that. Oh, geez, that thing does not move. Okay. Well, that worked. I'm getting tired. Okay. Cut the exhaust first, as you do. Alright, so we are, where are we at here? We're number one position, yep. Looks like it's what I did last, too. Whew, tired. Let's see how good of a job we did. So tapered valve guide pilots. Are we that close? Oh, that's why it's so big. Okay, it's just about completely in there. That one looks a little better. Alright, those are tapered on the very end there. She ends in the guide. And we got our level right here. Tells us if we're cocked one way or the other. Helps me clean it every now and then too. Alright. First thing you do is get the tilt of the table figured out. Okay, that's good and tight. You turn it 90 degrees and you do the sweep, which changes the tilt angle this way. If I lift the head up or down that way. That gives you two different angles, which makes it square and won't have a plane. Theoretically. we have a ball drive up in here, so it can be off a little bit. But my experience is, if you're off at all, it makes a difference. Alright. So, level and level. That's what you're looking for. Now you go over here, see how good this valve guide is. Is this one level? No, it's off a little bit. So that means this valve guide did not go in the same as that valve guide did. Now these are the 1/over guides with the bad holes, so I'm surprised it's that close. And we got to move this up and down a little bit, whichever way that needs to go. That was expected, though. The other one hopefully would be square, but it rarely is. This one's almost all the way down. That's kind of backwards. Okay. Yep, I'm off. Okay, that is right on the big line. That one's not on the big line. So let's go that way a little bit. Halfway there. Split the difference is what I usually do. Okay, that's good. Good. All right, so the heads are pretty well squared up. They're off by one of those lines right there. That's the air between the two sides. I don't know how many angles that is, degrees, but it ain't much. But that's how much it was off. Alright. So now we have to set the cutter. That'd be one of these right here. Multiple angles here. I don't know if you can see how many angles are on that. There's 3 or 4 angles, a couple radiuses. Some of that's kept, a lot of it goes away. I want to bore the throat on these guide on the bowls in here for hot rod use. So I bore out the guide, the throat of the port here. I'm going to bore this thing way out. He wants more power. We're going to give him more power. I'm going to open up the throat. Then we'll blend the bowl in underneath it. Then I'll come by and work on the outside this way where I'm not supposed to. That's the difference between a bowl port job and a full port job. Oh well, sometimes I get those confused. Alright, first thing I'm doing is bore out the throat after I move this in. So our valve seat cutter, setter. My wrist. Okay, first thing I do is I measure the valves. Figure how big I'm going to cut the port. Line up again. Alright, this is kibble valve, so it should be around 12 or so. Something like 14, 614 that is. S&S is 08 or a little less. Appears to be 14. Okay. Now I take 130 to 150 off depending on street application or more race application. So this is at 14, so if you take 114 off, that puts you at 500 down there. Now if you take another 20 off, that'd be 35. And you take another 20 off, to be 140, which puts you right in the middle of those two numbers. So that'd be 1475. That's a good place to start, I think. Alright, so then we take a cutter. These are seat cutters, but we could also bore out pockets with these. This is 300, and this one is 500, too big. Okay, so now I go over here, I set my gauge down here to the size I want, which is 1475 at this point. Give direction I can read it. .75 should put me right there. Let's see what size the throat is right now. It's about 388 or so, roughly. Okay, now we take our pocket cutter, stick it in there, and we adjust the carbide tips to match the size we want. Appears that we were close to this size before, slightly bigger. Probably 10th out bigger a bit. See, I vary it by application. Okay, this should be 475. 73, yep, the normal couple thou off. They always go undersides on these, probably because chip load, it cuts this actual size of the hole. It cuts, it's probably 75. Okay, so this is now set. Oop, wrong way. This is our driver. Goes in there. It's driven by this. It turned, it cuts the bowl out. Grab a little springy dingy, keeps it off the what you don't want to cut. Okay. Sure looks like it's going to cut a lot more than we want to. That's a big cut. Okay. Off. Get a little corrosion going over here. Somebody's not using the machine enough. There's a lot of humidity in the air. Could be near all the above, right? Grab my honing stone right here. See if we can drop the camera. How's that look? Alright, we have a little rust over here we're going to deal with. Turn this so I can see what I'm looking at. Alright, there we go. So there's our rust spots. So the honing stone will take this down to spare steel. That way the machine will slide across the surface better. There's a big piece of rust right there. Put that over in this area. Cool maintenance. Got an air chuck on this thing. See that rust spot right there? Tell it sits a lot, see? Yeah, the air in the water in the air line will make this rust. It's an air chuck. There's air under this thing. I'm not picking this head up here. It's heavy. All right. light maintenance work, see? Otherwise known as manual labor. Okay, get a little CRC here to stop the rust. At least slow it down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to wipe this down. See, you see all the rust marks in there. See, the stone don't take off low parts, low spots, it takes off high spots. Take a little CRC here. They tell you to put nothing on here. That's why it rusts. You don't put nothing on there. Looks like it rubs on the inside edge here. Ooh, nice burr under there, my fingers. Trying to cut me. Improper. They didn't deburr back in there. Yeah, it's a good place to cut my fingers. Alright. Like cleaning your kitchen table. Right. Alright, look at that, nice and clean. Just stopped. Wipe off the solvent. CRC down. Come on, put some CRC down. This machine's made to take a big ass diesel head. This is like 50 something inches long, I think. 48. No, it's probably 48 inches wide. So that means you can take a good 40-inch long diesel head on here. Big Cummins motor probably if you wanted to. Nothing really big, but you know, big enough. Okay, slide these down a little bit so I can get down under here. These are pretty much always covered down here with my blocks. It's giving me like a little mini shelf here. These are spacers for shovel heads and pan heads when you're doing older motors. Alright. Got it out of the way. Slide this down a little bit. Boom. Oops. Wider than I thought it was. You gotta wipe down. Bring it down, bang this in. Okay. They're all touched up and ready to go. See how that works. Okay, so this is our tool right here we got to use. Bring this down. Bang into it would be nice. It's just so stiff. See, this is supposed to go back and forth. See, all that stuff gets tight when you never use it, see? Once again, you're not supposed to put anything on this either. So we're just going to wipe it down with whatever residues on my rag. That's about all I usually use. Still got original grease in there from who knows how many years ago. It doesn't return like it's supposed to. Alright. A little freer. Almost went all the way up. We got self-returning, almost. Rub mark. Must be where it's hitting. Educational videos here. So you do your maintenance work before you can get really work done. You can always fast forward through this stuff, you don't care. Alright. Won't make it too good. Alright, so now I gotta move this over here. I have to hold this thing down here. It takes 2 hands to do this, so I'll swap this back over the tripod. Don't do bad workmanship by screwing stuff up by not doing it correctly. Kind of let it self-center a little bit. Turn it on. Centering up every time you do that. Should be enough. Okay, so now we just hit on the seat right there. Okay, where's my scale at? Okay, you take your 6-inch scale. Preferably the one I like, not the one I don't like. I like this one better. This is 1/2-inch thick. It's a good number to use. There, plus a little extra. These give about an 1/8 of an inch extra. I don't have to read it, I just stick it up there and use it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and bore the hole down. Where's the spring nuts? Everything's sticking, see? Nothing wants to work today. Sticky, sticky everything. See, even the cutter sticks, see? It's supposed to spring up. Alright. See how this works. Okay, turn it on. About 110 RPM there. Too close. Put this on up here, turn that off. Okay, we're going to power through here. Oh, more breathing. It didn't come back out. Just thinking about it. Up. Okay, that one's done. So, it's a little bit bigger. So see how this has a lip under here? I don't know if you can tell, there's a lip under there. Lip is now gone. Now the port's smaller than the seat is. This one here is the other way around. So I don't know if you can tell how much bigger that is. And my finger goes in that one. It's tight squeeze in this one, see? This one here goes right in, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. Do the same thing. There it goes. So this was the first stage of porting. Quite the damn throat out. Very hard to do this without a machine. Try to hand grind a port round to a size. Good luck. Number 2 is out. Damn, everything's stuck up. I'm using my tools enough. I think it's kind of gummed up. Nothing wants to work. Comes off a little easier now. Lack of use causes problems. Okay, that was the easy part. Okay, now we're going to cut the inside of the bowl out. Get this special Tatro machine cutter here. It actually says Tatro on it. So we'll use this one, another one over here. There's a part number from Sun if you want one. Just call them up, tell them you want that number, they'll make it for you. About 200 bucks, give or take a little. Anyway, it has a special parabolic curve shape to it, some radiuses, a little flat spot on the bottom. All things I use it for. Okay, this here, what I do is I go and I bore out the throat of the port underneath where the seat is. So that way we can make the port a nice transition. This gives you a nice something to work from that's not too far from what the finished port would be when you're done. Yeah. And you tighten it to get smaller. There we go. Light drag on it. Okay, now you go down to a certain depth and then you stop. Of course we know exactly what that depth is, right? Less than that one. Big spring gets in the way. Used to have smaller ones, but I got them all cut up. They get all broken up from being used. See? Okay, so this is the before. Over here. This is the after. See how it cuts in there real nice? Okay, I want to go a little bit deeper than that. Size up the bowl down a little further down. I'll put a little bit shorter spring in there. So hopefully I can go in a little deeper without cutting the damn thing off. That's what that one's for. Oh yeah. Just a tick further I wanted to, I think. But it's all the way to the bottom of the bowl now. So now you can see it's all the way to the bottom of the bowl down there. So that gives me something to port to now. So I usually want to stop just above this point, but it's pretty close. So that gives you a nice shape to that part of the bowl. So you can, when you port it, you blend it from here, this here, into your bowl over here. Over that little hump right there. And that makes the whole bowl a bit bigger, and it's nice and round and consistent. So it'll flow nice. And so far I haven't done anything except just run my machine. Quick and simple. Of course it goes quicker if I'm not showing it what I'm doing all the time. Oh well. I'm just going to put the short spring in there right from the start. It's about 10 or 15 thou higher up than the other one. So it looks like about the same depth, but it's actually slightly higher relative to what the head is, but port-wise it looks like the same step in the bottom there. Alright, so that's all sized in there. Pretty good now. Okay. Now I gotta go ahead and cut the seat, and then I'm gonna cut the whole side of this port away right here and let it breathe. That ought to piss a lot of people off. Lowers the compression down the motor, makes it easier to start. Less detonation. And runs better too on top of it. That's the plus. I'm going to use this cutter here to cut the outside diameter too. That's what it was made for anyway. It wasn't made for doing the ID. I just use it for that. I had other cutters I used to use, but this one works pretty good. Get a pin out of there. There we go. Okay, so now we got to set our valve diameter. Get out of my way. Up here. Okay, we got to set our cutter to cut right on the edge of the seat. See how these were previously done? See how it's right on the edge there, but not quite. You got a little small little trail of silver here on the outside edge. That's how much less than valve diameter you are, so this gives you full advantage of whatever you got for a port. So even though you got a relatively small port, you're using up the whole stinking port. You don't have a big valve on top of a little dinky port. We got a big valve on top of a small port, and we're maximizing the flow. So the advantage of the small valve big port is the valve does not restrict the flow. It's out of the way. When it opens up and comes out of the port like this, it's not restricting it because the air is going around the valve a lot more. If you had a really big head and a little small port, when you come up the valve, the air is going to hit underneath the valve head. It's not going to be way out here. So I don't like the big valve, small port at all. Big port, small valve works a lot better. Plus it gives you more valve to valve clearance here. So you can run a bigger cam. You can run more compression. You have to sink the valves like that to make room. So you get a lot of advantages to it. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have to set this thing. So this is done by putting on the edge of the valve. Looks like about a good spot to start with. Let's grab another pilot. So now you take the pointer over there, what I just set. You got to put the pointer right on the edge of the seat where you want it to be at. And when you cut it, it should be right on money. Only problem is it rarely is. A lot of times I can't see the exact point, so I want it being off. These cutters are so very little difference in angles. It's hard to tell which one's the seat angle and which one's the clearance angles. It's better to be on the safe side, small, than on the big side and be off the edge of the valve. Alright, so I got that set. Come over here. Cut it. Man, that pilot is full of crap. Oh, it's like free now. No more binding now. Imagine that. Okay, so this one here we'll cut the seat. See what we get. Test pass. Too fast. Here it's all center because I put a new guide in it. Alright, I don't think I didn't 100% clean that port yet. That's going to be cut deeper yet. That's alright. Time for some noise. Okay, so there is a bunch of angles. This side here is cleaned up all the way. This side here, I don't think I'm quite the top of the valve angle yet, because it's not concentric. The old seat is in a different location than what the new one is. Okay, but it's enough I can get a lap on the valve guide, or valve stem, see what we need. So I'm going to lap this one in, get some lapping compound over here. I use a fine lapping compound, not super fine, but fine. Still gritty, still rough. Could be finer, but it's good enough for now. Anyway, that's all I put on, just a little bit. And am I that close? Yep. Alright, I only put it where I want it to be, no extra. Drop it in there. Camera's too close is the problem. Take our suction cup, lapping stick they call these, and spin a little bit, up, down, up, twist, down. Don't do it all in one spot. Okay, then you look to see how screwed up it is. It's pretty bad. Not even close to where I thought it was. Alright, see I'm way here on the inside. Not even near where it's supposed to be. Whatever I was looking at wasn't the right spot, obviously. So I'm going to move the cutter out a little bit. Actually, a little bit's quite a bit. I'm going to get 20 thou off on each side. Loosened up. Do a manual adjustment. Mr. Manual did that one. Okay, now we go over the next valve and we do another cut. And we come back and do another lap. See how far we off this time. Usually I'm a lot closer. Oh well, it's midnight. What do you want? deep enough to get a good reading on it. Okay, I'll take the same valve. If the lap line goes out toward the edge, we know we're good. Much better. So at least now we're out here close to where it belongs now. See a little bit of silver mark along the edge there. So that's pretty conservative for me, but that's pretty good. So I'll live with it right there. I can cut that in half if I wanted to, but that's a safe number to be at. So we're not doing a race motor, so you want to have some room for wear. So as it wears, it comes out more toward the edge. Okay, so that one looks pretty good. You come over here and see where the seat is actually hitting on it. It looks to me like the seat was not even all the way out there yet. Nope. Didn't even go deep enough to get all the seat. That's probably why it's not quite all the way to the outside edge yet. Didn't go deep enough. Where's the mark on this one? See, it's barely even on the head. So see how the seat mark? I'm way out here on the outside edge of it. I thought this was the seat in here. That's not the seat. The seat's way up here on the very top. So I'm not even deep enough yet to get a full lap. So that means my cutter's probably slightly on the big side. That's why the seat's so narrow looking. Alright, so we're going to pull this back just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to do another cut. Go back to this one. Go back and forth. A little dab of marking pen over here so I can see where we're at. Gives me a reference. What we're cutting. Deeper. I can just see the top angle coming in now. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's, see a little mark right above the big fat mark. There's a little faint, little shiny mark right on top. That's the top seat angle. That's the angle above the seat. The seat's the spot in between. So I finally got in there deep enough to see that. So now we got to see what diameter I actually cut the valve at. I was using a false number before, so I might be off. Okay, we're going to use a new valve now. Now if this goes off the edge of the valve, we're going to be screwed on getting a number. Some lapping compound here. Alright, so this is our brand new valve here. Haven't used this one yet. you screw up this one, we'll have a problem. It'll be hard to see because everything will have a mark on it. You only get 2 chances at this stuff. Yeah, let's get back to the inside again a little bit. Nope, we're good. Perfect. See a little shiny line right there on the outside of the valve? That's what you want to see. And you see how it's a bit wider? This will pound in all the way across when it pounds in. See, it's almost complete on the edge of the valve right here. So we're pushing the limit on this one. It could actually be slightly less diameter than what we got. We're all the way on the outside edge. So probably better use it, just pull it in just a little bit. I'll be maximizing everything. I'm going to pull it back just a few thou. Just barely even move it. 5 thousandths probably. Okay. So mark this other one. Reference again. Make sure we got seat all the way across. Lap it just a tick more, it looks like. I think I'll just flash cut that one more time to bring it in a little bit. Side of the machine always likes to chatter. Always. Alright, that looks good. Put this one in. Come back and just kiss this one a little bit. A little bit more. Good. Oh yeah, that looks good. Okay, this one's a little bit higher. Probably get the chatter out of it this time. Slow. Go. Depth looks about the same. Alright, I think they're pretty close to equal height now. So you can see how you got a little 30-40 thou edge up on there above the seat. And if you look on this one, you got about the same thing right over here. Yep, hard to get it where you can see it. And these are not exactly concentric, so you got a little different numbers, but this one's probably about 5 thou higher up than this side over here, but it's pretty close. Alright, so that takes care of that top seat, that angle. I'll still have to lap those in yet, but okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cut my clearance out of here. So I'm going to put a mark right here, so I know when I hit it. Now we go over here and set this other cutter. Again, where'd it run off to? Okay, now I take this cutter here, which is my normal cutter, and I put this flat right here on the bottom of my tool, right out there about just past where the valve seat is. The valve seat's kind of right in the middle, it's about 3/4 of the way up the edge of it, and that's where I set it. That'll leave me a distinct line just above the seat that I can see. Where'd the tool go? There it is. It opens up everything else to flow really nice. Come on, dumbass. Move. Jeez. I'm telling you, nothing wants to move. Everything's all gummed up. Jeez. Trying to move it, nothing's moving. Yeah. The tools are fighting, it doesn't help. There we go. Okay, I got it set. I'll come over here and knock out the side of the wall over here. Bugs. Okay, I'm going to knock out this whole wall right here so to breathe. Breathing is always more important than compression. My air valve is sticking. So I blew the whole wall out right here. It went down until it just touched the top of the seat right here. You can just see a mark where it just hit it. The cutter's a little bit on the small side, that's why it's not cutting much out of this. And the valve's not sunk down, otherwise I'd be cutting this factory lip out of here that's in here. This edge right in here. If the valve was sunk deeper, that would all come out. But I'm purposely not sinking these valves down very far. Okay, so now, get this out of the way. And you put your valve in there. So as soon as you open up this valve, you got room to flow around it now. See, can't hold it up and look at it. So you look at the distance between here and the valve head. And as you open the valve up, it unshrouds it. It's unshrouded, so there's no airflow limitation. It can flow around the whole valve. When you got the thing plugged up like that, you can't flow around that side of the valve. So when you do this, you can flow around this valve. If you look at a twin cam motor, what they did was instead of having a shelf on one side and open on this side, they actually put the wall about from here down to here on both sides. So they had the same compression, but they unshrouded the valves, both valves. So that's why the twin cam has a better combustion chamber than the Evo. Different design. So they can very easily make an Evo with a bathtub style combustion chamber. The aftermarket did it, like STD and a few others. So it makes it flow a lot more air. So I do the same thing, but I just lower the compression a little bit by doing that, which is no big deal. Plenty of compression. This isn't taking out that much compression, but it makes it run a lot better. Alright, so that's how you do that, and then I come back, I hand grind this a little bit, and I knock this edge off right in here. Blend it here more even. Blend this around here a little better. Do that with a die grinder. Alright, that's how you do that. Okay, I'm going to do the other one now on this side. Do the same thing. Whenever you do to one side, you do to the other side. Of course, that chamber has a nice parabolic curve to it, so you're not digging a big gouge in the chamber either. Alright. There we go. Start the cut. Until it hits the seat and back off. All right. There you go. Pin out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lap the valves to the head now. So I'm going to make this the rear one. This one the front one. That way I know which valve goes where. We're blown way up, aren't we? See, I'm not watching with the video camera, I'm working. Okay, so I'm going to get a little lapping compound here. I recut the seats, so I got to relap them. We already got lap on the valve face, so we're not going to see exactly 100% where the seat is at, but get a pretty good idea where it is. I could put the felt tip marker on there, or the paint marker over there, and it would tell me where it is. I know where it is right now. I'm okay with it. Let's see, I just do the heads wrong. Yep, front and rear. Good. Even got the heads in the right one. You hear the lapping compound quit being so aggressive on the grind. That means you're probably there. See, it leaves a good lap. You can tell by the lapping compound where it's cutting at. It's right on the whole outer face of the valve. It's taken up. See, it's a nice, good edge. You can also see how the back cut works in the valve flow. Gives you a nice good flow, and then when you go into the port, it has a nice flow the other way, so you have a nice even funnel effect going on. That's what you're after. That's where the horsepower comes from. Now the rest of the port, if you do nothing else, it'd run a lot better just with this. We do the same thing on the intake side too. But the valve seat and valves are the most important thing to a port job. So if anybody's doing a port job and they don't do the valves, they're not doing a port job, because the valves are more important than everything else in the port. Unless you got it blocked off solid, then that would be a problem. But so anyway, you can see right on the whole edge, you can see a little shiny edge right here on the outside of the valve. That means we're on the end. We're just off the edge of it. So that's what you want to see. Same thing, you see a little shiny edge right there, right on the edge of it. So these are small valves, so we're taking full advantage of the valve face. So it's like having an oversized valve on the bike, because I put the valve face way out, more than normal. So if you put a valve 30, 50 thou out than where it should be normally, that's the same as putting a bigger valve in it. Except you don't have the shrouding, so it's actually better. Okay. Clean this up. Check the valve face, make sure the seats are ground all the way around. And a little bit of chatter marks in this one over here. Not too bad. Usually this one chatters more than that one, but they all chatter slightly. Alright, so there's what our finished seat area looks like. So you can see around the edge there. Over here, you can see how this one is. Whoop, there we go. Actually, you can see how it flows up around this edge and comes right out. So, there you go. Alright, so now I got to flip this around and do the intake. So, I'll come back a few minutes after I do that.